Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Slaanesh is out on the blitz today as they charge forth against the units of Grand Cathay in this domination style game. For the Slaanesh side of the field, we are going to have a couple quick movers as we have the Hellstriders of Slaanesh and the Heart Seekers. So one of which is going to be some anti-large, and there's just some good old shot cavalry. Running in support with them is going to be the Herald of Slaanesh. For some of her abilities, she does have the Locus of Grace, giving a nice little bit of additional melee defense and a physical resist in an AoE. We also have the Portal Glyph, going to be getting a couple summons of Chaos Furies out onto the field. And then we are also going to be having for the spells, Acquiescence, Pavane of Slaanesh, and then of course she does have that lore passive, the Blissful Rapture, given plus 12 melee attack and leadership. For the rest of the army, we do have a couple of Marauders in that front line. So we have just the bare bones regular unit, and then we have the Hell Scourges. These guys do have a nice little additional bit of melee defense over the regular variant. And of course, we do also have the Spawn of Slaanesh in the back as well. And they do have that Soporific Musk, which is going to be given a nice little reduction to those units that they are engaging with. Up in the skies, we do have a couple units of Chaos Furies to help contend any of the flyers that Grand Cathay may have, or to kind of shut down any of their ranged units. And speaking of Grand Cathay, on the other end of the battlefield, we do have a Miao Ying, the Storm Dragon, going to be leading her troops. And for her kit, she does have the Wrath of the Storm, plus 24 melee attack, magical attacks, and immune to psychology. And for the spells, we have Earthblood, Storm of Shadows, we have Flesh to Stone, Missile Mirror, and a Regrowth. And then for the army that she is going to be leading, we have some Jade Warriors with some Peasant Long Spearmen in that front line. We also do have some Jade Warrior crossbows with a couple of Peasant Archers to boot on that. On the flanks, we are going to have a couple bits of mobility with some Peasant Horsemen, going to be providing just a little bit of flank support on that. But otherwise, that is going to be the army. So let's get things rolling, as Slaanesh is going to be charging headlong straight up the middle, going to be going for that center rank. It looks like their mobility, though, is going to be kind of moving a little bit more off to the sides. They do have a little bit of time to wait until those cap points do come online, and with Slaanesh's speed, even that isn't necessarily going to be pushing them too far forward. Miao Ying is going to be taking her dragon form early on and going to be charging forward with that. A little bit of flying support. Those Chaos Furies over on the other side going to be wanting to probably keep their distance just a little bit. Nothing can really contend Miao Ying when she is up on the Storm Dragon with Slaanesh. They have no range, no flyers of their own that really pose any kind of considerable threat to her. So she is going to be able to sit nice and safe up in the sky, kind of choosing whichever engagement she does want. But in the center ranks, Slaanesh is going to be the first to the cap point, as all of the Peasant Archers and those crossbowmen going to be liking their shots into that Spawn of Slaanesh. But Miao Ying is going to be diving down forward, and now the shots from the archers are going to be starting to put in their good work, and then taking a few good hits off of the Spawn of Slaanesh early on. We also do have those Seeker Chariots charging on forward as well. Some of those initial reinforcements already coming in to the fold, as the rest of the units are going to be coming right down the hill as they charge in. Heart Seeker is going to be getting around Miao Ying, actually doing some decent damage to her so far, as the Chaos Furies do dive in from the rear. But both of these Peasant Horsemen are going to be sitting right there, and they should be diving right into the rears of those Chaos Furies, trying to free up those archers as quickly as they can. In the center ranks, though, Miao Ying is in a little bit of a rough spot, as the Spawn of Slaanesh and all of these Heart Seekers, especially with the Hellstriders as well, are going to be doing a number onto Miao Ying, especially with that poison and the acquiescence, reducing that melee defense even more so. And she is just going to be trying to pull out of that engagement as quickly as she can, but she's getting very, very low, and she is actually going to end up routing here. Now, if she can get back to the field, she will still have an opportunity to come back in, but that is going to be a quick, good benefit for Slaanesh, as they're going to be having one major threat off the field very early on, and they are going to be holding that front line, doing some good work against those Peasant Long Spearmen with their Marauders, as they are wont to do. But now this is also going to be opening up some little openings into the back line, but those Chaos Furies have done their job. They've been able to shut down those archers for just long enough to allow that front line to really get some good damage done. And now the Seeker's Chariots are going to be running havoc among those backline units, and they're just going to be trying to just disrupt as much as they can. And Miao Ying doesn't really know which way that she wants to be routing. She's been routed for quite some time, and she's been kind of really just stuck in that center rank. Is actually able to somehow route off those Hellstriders, and might be enough to free her off. She does have regrowth, so she might be able to get some healing done on her, as we do have plenty of reinforcements now coming in, charging forward for the units of Grand Cathay. We have peasant archers. Looks like we have a couple of peasant archers, some peasant horsemen, and we have a skyjunk as well. Skyjunk actually can do some decent work. They can definitely get a lot of damage done over the course of the fight, because there's nothing to really contest it, but they do have to get some decent shots in. Miao Ying is back. She definitely needs to revert back from her dragon state so she can get that regrowth off on her. She definitely needs it. We are going to be getting one of those Chaos Fury summons, as they're going to be taken to the skies from the portals from the demon realm, as they're going to be trying to maybe push off Miao Ying. She might be low enough for them to be able to do just that. But the center rank so far has been going fairly well for Slaanesh. A nice rear charge into those Jade Warriors should be enough to break them, and then some more returning units and peasant horsemen and those peasant long spearmen can be returning, trying to do what they can for those against those Hellstriders. And now the Skyjunk is going to be opening up. Don't have to worry too much about too much friendly fire. Miao Ying has reverted back from her human form. Now, hopefully, she is able to get that healing off. I do see her casting something of, like, she does pass a regrowth overcast. Now, it's a little dangerous to be doing that, but it is going to be well worth it. That overcast may have been enough to just outright kill her, but the center rank for the Grand Cathay units are really kind of deplenishing, as Slaanesh has a very good hold on that center formation. Looks like they also do have this far point over here, as these Marauders of Slaanesh and those Heartseekers are able to deal with those peasant horsemen there to intercept, as Skyjunk continues to open fire, doing some good work. But the Chaos Fury is going to be in closing that distance, and Miao Ying is already sitting a lot better at half health, and some more units can be coming in. Actually, a Fire Rain Rocket, no less. Now, that is going to be rather hard to kind of keep alive and well, but if it is able to get online, it can definitely do some work against the very lightly armored units of Slaanesh, as they are rather depleted. They've taken quite a bit of damage so far on the front ranks, but they are still alive and well. They have been able to push back all of the units from Grand Cathay in that center ranks, and now Grand Cathay is really just trying to push heavily on this top flank here, as Miao Ying dives in on the ground to kind of deal with these Heartseekers, trying to push them off of these archers, as the rockets from the artillery is going to be firing away. Not a whole lot of damage done on that initial salvo, but they are going to continue firing away in a very nice kind of secluded location. But the speed of Slaanesh is quickly going to be on the way, as they're going to be trying to just dive right into these peasant archers, as these peasant long spearmen are going to be kind of pushing forward. Definitely need something a little bit more strong to support that center ranks, as the remaining units are just trying to get whatever damage they can down in the flats. But most of the battle is going to be being decided up here, as another summon of those Chaos Furies is going to be coming from that Herald of Slaanesh. That is the second one for her, as the first one does dissipate onto the ground. They are going to be just trying to deal with this Skyjunk once and for all. Now, these archers, definitely, they can get some little space here. It might be good to try and just peel off as many of those Chaos Furies as they can. Seeker Chariots diving into that front line, as they are going to be held off by those peasant long spearmen, doing a good job of holding that line, and that Fire Rain Rocket is going to be kind of pushing forward. But that Herald of Slaanesh is going to be slowly disintegrating bit by bit, as she is going to be unstable from that leadership. Though she might be able to stabilize, with that damage continuing to persist, she may very well be not long for the mortal planes, as the rockets just continuing to arc its fire down into the nether region. But all of these Chaos Furies, I think at this point, with just how many they have surrounding, but Miao Ying going to be taken to the sky to try and clear up that Skyjunk, because that Skyjunk is not in too good of a position, does not have the speed at all to really kind of evade these Furies, and Miao Ying going to have to get her hands dirty a little bit and try and clear the skies, and it looks like she's going to be able to do just that and get that Skyjunk back up online and operational, as more of those units of Grand Cathay are going to be kind of pushing that top ridge, and they definitely need to be very aggressive here. You do not want to be behind Slaanesh this late in the game. They have a rather interesting way of kind of just being able to hit you very hard in that late game, so you really need to have a little bit of a cushion in terms of points, as they are going to be kind of pushing these peasant horsemen back, but the rest of the units from Grand Cathay are going to be slowly working their way forward. Skyjunk is back online, going to be getting some shots in down to the units on the ground, and it is going to be leaving this center point rather open for some of the units. These Jade Warriors are going to be pushing in to try and take that, but up on the top, we do have some Fiends of Slaanesh who are going to be capping at point 3, so that is going to, at least for the time being, still give them 3 points, and they are already halfway on the way to a victory in terms of points. Grand Cathay definitely needs to kind of push forward and get some work done as quickly as they can. Yao Ying still alive and well though, but the Fiends of Slaanesh are going to be diving right on in, going to be having some Hellstriders as well in support, just kind of mark things up and just kind of hold back Cathay from this point, and they're doing a fairly decent job of that. In the meantime, as we are going to be getting a little bit of damage coming their way, as we do get, it looks like we have that Super Victimus, the Wrath of the Storm, Fascination, tons of abilities going down. Jade Lancer is going to be taking quite a bit of damage from that Fascination, as they are going to be also going to be getting Rampage, so they are out of control right into those Fiends, and Miao Ying is going to be getting a little low herself in terms of HP. She definitely might be needing another one of those regrowths if she is going to be a good chance. The Secret Chariots alive and well, coming in with some fresh reinforcements, diving in, going to be clearing up this center point for Slaanesh, as the threat of Cathay is going to be at least taken out of the picture for the time being. Top point is still well in control of Slaanesh, and I think things are looking rather grim. Just Grand Cathay just does not have the speed that they need to really kind of quickly push in, especially when you are going to be facing off against Slaanesh, but they still have plenty of units up here, and they can very easily probably take at least 2 of these positions, but they need all 3 of them at this point if they're going to be able to pull forward here in the late stages of this match. And we do have a little bit of pressure though kind of be coming down. These Fiends of Slaanesh are at least pushed back, so it looks like for point 1 is going to be under control of Grand Cathay, and the rest of the units going to be descending down the hill, going to be charging forward. We have the Fiends of Slaanesh, some Marauders, and some Slaanesh Spears as well, and some Secret Chariots going to be holding this point. Artillery barrage coming in should be able to break these Marauders, but the Spears are still going to be around, and those Chariots on top of that, but there is still plenty of units of Cathay coming charging down, and the first points are going to be on the board for Grand Cathay, but unfortunately I don't think that is going to help them at this stage. They are too far behind to be able to make things up, as they are just kind of straggling for points, and they need to have something close by, and they really don't. So even if there was something, I don't think that they could even cap that point 3 in time. And Slaanesh is doing a fairly decent job of holding this front line, as we get a few spells here kind of slowing things down as they charge for peasant horsemen. Going to be taking some fascination damage here, as they're going to be most likely getting rampage just from that spell. So once that HP drops just low enough, and there it is, they are going to be getting rampage stuck in with those Fiends, and they're not going to be doing all too hot there. 4,800 and ticking up towards that victory cap is going to be Slaanesh's points, even though they don't really have that much left on the field. Cathay has kind of had a bit of a resurgence. Those great Longma riders do need to land if they're going to even be able to try and cap that point, but it's going to be too little too late. Slaanesh is going to be able to hold out in points, and they will be victorious against Grand Cathay. So let's take a look at the after battle report, see how things did fare on both sides. So for the Herald of Slaanesh, not really getting a whole lot of points, but did have some nice use of those Chaos Furies, kind of shutting things down in the early stages, and then harassing that Skyjunk even more so kind of in that mid-game. The Heartseekers of Slaanesh doing very, very well, getting 2778, some fantastic damage on them. Spawn Slaanesh not so great. Hellstrider kind of just barely making up their costs, and then Infantry really just there for kind of for capping for the reinforcements. Secret Chariots did okay. Fiends of Slaanesh, again, nothing to really write home about. It was mostly about out the mobility game in this army. Actually, these Chaos Furies did really well, 1,600. That is remarkable damage for those guys. They were rather squishy, kind of surprising to see any of those guys get that kind of damage. As for the units of Grand Cathay, Miao Ying was able to get 2,300 in total value, but again, not quite enough for that. Even some of the peasant archers, though, almost 1,000 on them, really able to get some decent damage over the course of the fight. Skyjunk was able to get almost 1,200, and the Fire Rain rocket 700, but unfortunately, artillery isn't going to necessarily cap those points all too easily. Nothing else really on the roster doing too great there. The mobility of Slaanesh really did kind of put a hamper into their plans and kind of just kept them from those points just long enough, as Cathay was actually had a fairly strong field presence there in the late stages. Well, that is going to be all I have for you today. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good one.